Now, an Orange County hospital is reporting a 500% increase in e-bike accidents from this time last year. This after 2 people recently died in the county while riding electric bikes. Christine Lazaro looks into the safety of e-bikes and why some medical professionals say that riders don't realize just how dangerous these bikes can be, Christine.
And a lot of parents don't realize how dangerous they are when they allow their kids to get on them. And I think during the pandemic, we all wanted to get outside and do something. And so that probably contributed to such a rise in popularity. Now, while researching this story, the one thing I kept hearing over and over is that e-bikes are not your typical bicycle, and that the injuries sustained while riding an e-bike are more on par with motorcycle accidents. Despite this, we saw the majority of people riding not wearing helmets and often riding in a manner that many would say is reckless.
Oh my gosh, what is this kid doing?
A teenager attempting to stand on his e-bike while riding in the middle of rush hour traffic. The sound of metal on metal as an e-bike slams into the back of a parked car.
I started picking up speed and I could not get the motor to turn off.
Stories of panic from crash victims and their families.
The first thing he remembered was seeing himself tangled up in his bike and seeing his femur kind of wrapped around his handlebar.
This is an x-ray of Nicole Murdoch's 15-year-old son's femur. The bone snapped in half after the teen was coming down this hill in San Clemente on his e-bike. He lost control and collided with this street sign. He was rushed into surgery at Providence Mission Hospital in Mission Viejo.
They had to try and avoid his growth plates, so they put a titanium rod in his hip at the top of his femur, all the way through down to the bottom of his femur, and then 2 screws at the bottom and 2 screws at the top.
From January to August 2020, Mission Hospital treated 11 e-bike trauma patients. During that same period this year, that number jumped to 70 trauma patients. In 2020, only 1 of their e-bike accident patients were children. In 2021, that number skyrocketed to 22.
The most common injuries are broken bones, arms and legs, followed by head injuries, followed by internal organ injuries.
The hospital reports about 45% of their e-bike accident patients weren't wearing helmets, and the majority of the patients they see have severe injuries.
In the last 2 weeks, we had 2 high-grade liver injuries in teenagers on e-bike.
Jennifer Fitzpatrick was injured riding an e-bike almost 3 years ago. She says she wasn't able to slow the bike down and veered onto the sidewalk to avoid riding into oncoming traffic.
My helmet was shattered. My optic nerve was interrupted. I spent a year at Mission Hospital doing physical therapy, occupational therapy.
Steve Rosen is the owner of Bike Legal Law Firm.
Gosh, the amount of growth we've seen in accidents, and specifically catastrophic injury accidents related to e-bikes, has been steadily on the rise.
Rosen says many of his clients treated e-bikes as they would traditional bicycles.
I think people mistakenly believe that e-bikes are just like any bicycle. I'm just getting on a bicycle, it's going to be like the bike I've been riding since I was 3 or 4 years old. It's not. It's more akin to a motorcycle, or more specifically like a moped they used to have.
E-bikes can go up to 28 miles per hour, and safety experts say too many people are getting on e-bikes without the proper training. In September, a 36-year-old mother died and her 2 young children were seriously injured when she crashed an e-bike on a trail in San Juan Capistrano. A couple of weeks earlier, a former Corona Del Mar high school baseball coach suffered a severe head injury while riding an e-bike. He died days later.
So 44%.
Earlier this month, advocates, including the Orange County Sheriff's Department, hosted an informational meeting on e-bike safety.
30 years in the business, I've never seen a cycling category grow this fast.
Bike shop owner Matt Ford says there is a place for e-bikes as long as they are used responsibly.
Wearing helmets, understanding how to use the bike before they go home. A lot of people can buy e-bikes via the internet and never really learn how to use it properly. I think power is very addictive and very fun. It's just learning how to use it in the proper way is pretty critical.
The fastest class of e-bikes are only to be ridden by those 16 and up, and all riders under 18 using any type of e-bike must wear a helmet. Riders don't, however, need insurance or license to ride an e-bike. And as we said, we saw a lot of people, including teenagers, without those helmets.
With no helmets on. But Christine, we know that e-bikes aren't going anywhere. So what can parents of young riders do to make sure that they're safe?
Well, there are ways to make it safer. Safety experts say everyone should wear a helmet, and they may even consider a motorcycle helmet, which offers more protection than a traditional bike helmet. Also, it's best to buy the bike in person, so the bike shop can teach you how to properly use the bike. Finally, although e-bikes can only go up to 28 miles an hour, they can easily pick up even more speed when going downhill. So you want to consider your route and your speed before you get on that e-bike. Pat, back to you.
All good advice and eye-opening information too. Thanks so much, Christine.